But we must talk about all the other stuff in Westminster yesterday, kind of chaotic for the Conservatives. Suella Braverman stood up in the House of Commons to give a very rare resignation statement, personal statement, even though she was technically sacked. She used it as another chance to hit out at Rishi Sunak's immigration policy.
The Conservative Party faces electoral oblivion in a matter of months if we introduce yet another bill destined to fail. Do we fight for sovereignty, or do we let our party die? Now, I may not have always found the right words in the past, Madam Deputy Speaker, but I refuse to sit by and allow us to fail.
Wow. Then, as we hear the government's latest update to their Rwanda plan, we find out the immigration minister, who's the guy who's supposed to be driving it through, has quit himself, saying he hasn't got a chance of working. And we'll see, his name is Robert Jenrick. And always when people resign, they write letters. These letters, by the way, are getting longer and longer because people know everyone, people go through them. And so this is all the text. I won't bore you with all of it. Just one paragraph here. And he says, I do not believe the bill that you're doing, the Rwanda bill, provides us with the best possible chance of success. A bill of the kind you are proposing is a triumph of hope over experience. So the big centrepiece, this thing of if the next election is about immigration, and if the Tories' one policy is Rwanda, and if the guy who's immigration minister says it can't work, that looks lethal. So where are we, Paula, with this?
Well, I think it's either time for MPs to put in their letters of no confidence or Rishi should step down. I think
really, because we would have had, if that happens before an election, never mind what happens at the election, we will have had, I think, 6 prime ministers in 7 years.
We're living in unprecedented times. Obviously, we've gone through COVID during that time, the cost of living crisis. It's been a very difficult time. I think we need 53 for there to be votes. And
you would go for it, would you?
I would, because the Conservative
the
MPs have nothing to lose. Most are going to lose their seats anyway. So I don't know. I don't understand their reluctance. I really don't.
Well, it may be that if they ditch Rishi, they will have gone through Rishi, Liz, I mean, one hardly remembers, but the lettuce, Boris Johnson, Theresa May, David Cameron.
Rishi's the worst of all of them. He was unelected, and then he brought on David Cameron that was unelected. You know, both of them together are a nightmare. What
do you think, Nina? Should they? I mean, you don't want them to win the next election, but would it help them if they gave him the push?
Look, this is just the dying days of an utterly repulsive party. They have ruined the country over the last 12 years. It's an absolute nightmare. And for Suella Braverman to say, if we don't get this bill through, we're going to be obliterated, is irrelevant, frankly. I don't know why anyone listens to her.
You think if they do get it through, they'll be obliterated?
They will be obliterated anyway. Because,
no, they wouldn't.
Because if they changed horses again at this late stage again and got rid of Rishi and put in Suella Braverman, it's just another indication that the Tory party are unfit to govern because they are like rats fighting in a sack. You've got the right wing, you've got the middle, which is still right of Genghis Khan as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, where is the country? Where is the time being devoted to looking after this country?
Before we go on, I should say, I think we should take calls on this because we'd love to hear from you because I think you may well have a view on whether the Conservatives or the country would be better off just saying to Rishi Sunak, thank you and goodbye.
No, thank you, yeah.
Go and spend some more time with your money. But come on, no one's going to vote for another person at the top.
They would.
Suella?
I feel like what's happening, the reason people are leaving is because their hands are tied. They know what we need to do to protect our national security. And that's what it comes down to. It's not...
Well, the election's going to be about the boats, isn't it, basically?
What is it? But the boats... When the boats are coming over, it's affecting our national security. And whether you're Labour, whether you're Liberal, whether you're Conservative, we should all care. People are coming over in these boats that hate this country, and over 40,000
Paula.
Excuse me, Nina. Over 40,000 of these people are on our terror watch list. Labour don't want a terror attack, and nor do the Conservatives. So we need to protect our borders.
Hold your horses. Let Nina come in.
Paula, if they hate this country, Why do they
Because
come
of the
here?
benefits, darling. Because of the benefits.
Don't call me darling,
We give about
please.
40%
We're not that
more money in
intimate
benefits
yet.
than any other countries that they can go
this is
to.
ridiculous.
Maybe the language, or maybe family connections, or whatever. But we can all agree it's going to be an issue at the election, to say the least. Kathleen has already called us. Well done, Kathleen. You're hot on the phones today. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing very, very well. My is that I do think now that the Conservative Party have become a laughing stock. They have got a foreign minister going out to Rwanda trying to get a deal. Then they've got the immigration minister resigning. That's not good. He should go. He's, the one hand doesn't seem to know what the other hand is doing.
Well, he's blown the whistle. He's been a whistleblower, really, hasn't he? He said, look, whatever the government is telling you about this bill, it won't work. Yeah. And by the way, the key thing he's saying is, because we're still governed by the European Court of Human Rights, they will be able to stop these flights. So there's no point. He's still got no chance.
Well, he may be a whistleblower, but he is now right in what he's saying. But the point is, it does not look good for the government of this country to have two big ministers, important ministers, one resigning, the other one trying to flag Rwanda. It's not good.
You're talking about Cameron.
Right.
Oh, I see, Cameron or Cleverly or whatever it is. What do you think Nina's right that they're fighting like rats in a sack?
They certainly are. They're not putting the public. They're not putting the country first. They're putting themselves first.
It's interesting, Paula. They thought when they did. Thank you, Kathy.
But it's not they. It's a lot of these. The reason ministers are resigning because they want to do what's right, but Rishi's not letting them. We have to leave the ECHR now because we have a lot of similar laws in this country. But we have the good laws for ECHR. We don't have laws that are going to compromise our national security, laws that don't let us send rapists away, like foreign rapists away, and also terrorists. Once they're here, we can't send them away.
Can I just point out to you, Paula, it was the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom who said it was unlawful. And what this government is trying to do is trying to say black is white in terms of...
But the laws need changing. The court uphold them, but the laws can be changed in Parliament.
Can I just make a point? The most ridiculous point of this, they are passing a law, making a treaty with Rwanda, just stating that Rwanda is now a safe place. It would be like me saying, or you would deny that you're a petrol head.
Well, I mean,
you're not a petrol head, but I can pass a law and say you're a petrol head.
It's like passing a law saying that Paul McCartney's never made any good music, and you're thinking, well, that doesn't change. No. Yes, he has. I'm sorry.
And you're not a petrol head, but you could pass a law to say you're a petrol head.
Well, I don't know about
I can book a holiday to Rwanda on my phone now. Fly BA, book a hotel. They have the human rights scores are much lower in Cape Verde, for instance, or Morocco.
Sure,
so it's a safe country. So this argument should even be spoken about.
There's certainly an argument there.
Well, why can I book a flight to BA and go tomorrow if it's not safe?
Listen, because
they treat their refugees badly.
No, I've seen all the hotels that we've had journalists go over and have a look as well.
Also, firstly, the British High Commission said that human rights in Rwanda is a work in progress. They do not look.
People go there on holiday.
They do not look kindly on LGBTQ plus people. U.S. government said last year, pointed out all
no worse in the countries where these people
You can pick holes in all countries' records. You could say that the human rights in the USA is terrible because they have the death penalty. So, Robert Jenrick, the immigration minister, saying the immigration policy doesn't work. Suella Braverman saying the party's going down in flames. Robin in Gloucestershire is on the line. Is it curtains?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
I think we can't have another prime minister. It's an absolutely awful pantomime. I mean, the only solution is probably an early election.
Yeah.
I mean, how many have there been?
They're not going to do, but it would be Turkey's saying, "Can we have Christmas in November?" Wouldn't it? I mean, why would they? They may win the election, but at the moment it looks difficult to say the least.
It's impossible now.
I do. Robin, let's have a little election prediction from you, Robin. Right? You obviously study these things.
No, I don't. I just can't.
Well, you're watching the programme. That's the start. In 1997. the Conservatives were smashed by Blair and they had 165 seats at the end of that election. How many do you think they'll have at the end of the next election?
Well, way under that, I think.
Well, under 165?
Yeah.
Ooh, do you think so?
I think certainly if they ditch Rishi, it'll just be the final nail in the coffin because they can't be trusted. As we said before, they're fighting amongst themselves. They're not taking care of the country. Everything, as you understand, Robin, is just collapsing.
Well, Robin may be right. Robin, whichever side of the fence you're on politically, I mean, you cannot have 6 prime ministers in 7 years. You
can. I mean, there's a war against it.
Well, listen, in the Second World War, we only had one after Neville Chamberlain went. We had Churchill all the way through. They didn't keep chopping and changing.
But a day is a long time in politics. We have 11 months. So with a new prime minister, they could win the next election. There's no chance
that's interesting.
now.
That's it. Robin, what do you think of that from Paula?
I've never heard so much rubbish.
That's fine, Robin.
To be prime minister.
Sorry, say again?
I've never heard so much rubbish from the other woman on the panel, but I want Nina in Parliament.
Well, Nina would not lead the Conservative Party. I think I know her quite well. I think if you did, you would deliberately lead it into oblivion.
I would, yes, exactly. I would get on my broomstick and
I always think of you as a Lib Dem, maybe.
I am a Lib Dem.
Okay,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Robin, no, that's not going to happen. Thank you so much. I don't know who the next... I tell you what, if we lost Rishi Sunak, though, we'd miss one of the all-time great statements in public life, where Sunak, after Liz Truss left office, said she has led the country through a very difficult period.
Which is encouraging.
He's never
going to change. Like, he doesn't care if he loses the general election. He doesn't care. I think he was only obviously he wasn't voted in, but he's using his position for global relations. He's not a patriotic person. He doesn't care about sovereignty here. He really doesn't.
I don't know about that. He's only for Brexit.
I think, because there's all this money, but he's made a lot of his own money, but it is his wife's money, and wife's
richer
family.
Than the king.
So he needs to have, I think, in terms of the marriage and the family. I'm just thinking about this. He needs to have the status of Prime Minister to equal her wealth.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the idea that if you've got a lot of money, you don't care what people think of you isn't true.
No.
It's like, why does Taylor Swift, we're talking about her later, why does she still make albums if she doesn't care? No, he doesn't want to be the loser. No. And at the moment, that's how he's
and the trade deal will go through soon with India. I mean, he's not going to quit until that trade deal is completed as well.
Pigs might fly before then. I mean, but the thing is, the interesting thing about Jenrick resigning is that he and Sunak are great buddies because they arrived in Parliament around the same time, along with Oliver Dowding.
That is interesting.
And the three of them got together to back Boris for PM, so that they are...
This is a big
close.
Schism. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Darren in London, how are you calling this? Is it curtains for Rishi?
Personally, Jeremy, good morning, Jeremy. Good morning, panel.
Good morning.
Personally, morning. I'd give him more time. He's doing a very tough, very challenging and difficult job. And as you pointed out a moment ago, Jeremy, we've had 6 prime ministers in 7 years. Skipping him for another prime minister wouldn't always be the obvious answer. I think he needs time. I think he's doing a pretty good job in very, very difficult, tough, choppy waters.
I just want to make sure, because I said if he changed, we would have 6 in 7. So let's just, I've tried to remember, it's CMJTS. Cameron, May, Truss, Johnson, Truss, Sunak. So it's 5 in 6 years, but it would be 6 in 7, you're right. And you don't want to see that.
No, absolutely. I think, often we're too quick to call for someone's head when we're challenging very tough and difficult times. Yeah. I think he needs to be backed. I think he needs to be given more time. Yes, there'll be a general election within the next year.
That's the
but I think he needs more time.
It's a bit like, with a football club, they know if they bring a new manager in, the team always win the next 2 games because there's a bounce. And that they just need anything. They need a bounce.
I think the Tory party are beyond bounce.
They don't bounce anymore.
Well, Suella alluded to that he didn't want to stop the boats, and I think this is what's a really prevalent point.
Okay. Darren, thank you. Sally in Surrey, hi.
Hello there, Jeremy. Hello, panel. Nice to talk to you all.
And you. Would you kick him out, Rishi, if you could do it in a discreet way?
To be honest with you, I've thought about this very hard. My heart says yes, my head says no. The reason being that if we get rid of Sunak, we're opening the floodgates to somebody potentially very dangerous, like Suella Braverman. I'm extremely worried by some of the rhetoric that's coming out, particularly the panellist on the left. Is it Paula?
Paula.
Why do people come to this country for benefits? That old trope. Oh,
It is true. They're intense in France. You know that.
No, listen. You don't.
Here, they're
know
in 4-star hotels where British people sleep on the street. That's a fact.
No, don't keep saying something is a fact.
It is a fact. I know my facts.
We know the hotel bill is expensive. We know that, Sally.
It is, but that's the tip of the iceberg. The real problem is the mismanagement by this government, the cutting of public funds, and they are hopefully in the death throes.
Sorry, when you say cutting of public funds, how's that impacted on the small boats problem?
Because that's the real issue. The boats coming over is a problem, but it's not the main issue.
Well, if we didn't spend £8 million a day on hotels, we'd have more money.
No, can we just put that aside for 1 minute?
No, we can't, though. We can't. It's a very big problem.
No, we can. We can.
Thank you, Sally.
All right, Sally's got primacy here because she's on the phone. But would you change Rishi Sunak for somebody else, and if so, who? You don't want Suella?
No, I honestly think there should be a general election. I think keep Rishi in there because we do not want to open the floodgates to somebody far worse. Because listening to Suella's personal statement yesterday is absolutely chilling. The rhetoric, the sheer lunacy of some of the things she's saying, it is very divisive.
Well, she may be more electable than Rishi Sunak. That you call it lunacy.
Problem. It is lunacy. The fact that somebody like that should be leading government is deeply worrying because she's very hostile to minority groups.
All right, hang on. Sally, thank you. Melvin in Kent, what do you think of what Sally said?
Good morning, Jeremy.
Morning.
Yes, I agree with her. I think they should call an election.
Well, they're not going to do that, Melvin, because it really is the turkeys, isn't it? Yeah. So it's spring next year at the earliest, right?
I mean, the fact that this government have attacked people with disabilities and mental health and the Back to Work Act, also the bill that's gone through Parliament that can look into people's bank accounts, all people, giving police the right to enter and the power to enter your home without a warrant and without...
Well, you're always going to disagree with laws.
Police state.
Yeah, it's a police state.
Yeah.
Do you think Labour can do any better?
No, we have a quandary because I cannot vote for Starmer. He changes his mind on a whim.
Well, maybe this country's ungovernable. I hate to say it.
I think
maybe there's no one could do it.
Look, Melvin, you say that Starmer changes his mind on a whim. He's changing to changing situations, and the plans he has as he sees how the Tories are denuding this country of money, means that he will not have enough money to put in place the plans that Labour have.
I think he should say what he means and means what he says.
I think he's an excellent politician because in the years since he's been leader, he's blotted out Jeremy Corbyn, he's blotted out the anti-Semitic side. And that takes a tough man.
And he was supposed to be, I understand from Labour people, they thought he was going to be like a kind of placeman for one between two elections that they weren't going to win. He's now looking like the next Prime Minister. So this is not what Labour necessarily saw coming.
No. Well, he's annoyed a lot of Labour voters. Remember, they were all outside his office because he wouldn't call for a ceasefire now. So he has annoyed a lot of people.
He's a different debate, but he is gaining from attacking the left wing of his party. That's what Blair did. OK, Melvin, gosh, there's a lot there. But it's a lot. It's a lot for Rishi Sunak. He's waking up today. He's got no Robert Jenrick, who, as Nina says, was his mate, who's resigned. Suella's attacking him. It's all going a bit Humpty Dumpty.